Hello, traders. Welcome to the final trading day of the week. All right, let's see what we got here. Well, we had a really nice teardown from early this morning, 4:30 Central. We really started the dive, and now since about the last hour, we've just kind of been trading sideways. So we'll see what happens. There is news at the top of the hour. That would be 10 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, 10 o'clock Eastern. There is... I forgot what it is now. Hang on. Stand by. Preliminary consumer sentiment numbers come out at 10 Eastern. So we've got our alarm set for that. We'd rather not be in a trade for that. Whether it's high, it's considered high impact, but whether it is or not, I just don't like being in trades because it could just flinch enough to take out a stop if you're in a trade. And let me also let you know about some really good news from Apex to celebrate Martin Luther King Day. We're going to have a week-long big sale of 80% off, and that's not just for the first month. It's 80% off each and every month that you're working on your evaluation account. Of course, if you finish it in less than a month, that means nothing. But if it's going to take you more than a month to finish your evaluation, maybe you've taken one of the bigger evaluations or whatever, you're just taking it slow, trading micros, it'll be 80% off forever. And that comes out to be less than $40 a month. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. And if you would use my code when you sign up, I'd appreciate it. You see it up on the screen there. That'll give you the discount, and it will also send a little bit back my way to help support the stream. It doesn't cost you any more to do so. It just helps me a little bit. Appreciate that. And that will minimize any risk you have in trading. Your entire risk for the account is your monthly fee, with the upside is whatever you make of it. All right, enough of that. You'll probably hear me mention that throughout the broadcast, but that's just the cost of admission. All right, we got about 3 minutes before the market opens. Let me just take this opportunity to remind you that I am not a professional trader. I am not a financial advisor. Please do not copy my trades. This is for entertainment only. Starting to move up into that 105 EMA. We had a huge drop down. I wonder if we were to put our Fibonacci's on here, what they would look like. Where the heck are my fibs? Well, at the very least, what we can do is see where 50% is. Something along these lines. So that's 43 points. We're talking about 21, 22 points. So way up here. This would be your 50% retracement right at about 39.83. That's about the 50% retracement for whatever it's worth. That is certainly not enough to take a trade on, but if something sets up in this general area, that's a little extra credence to it. Let me see here. I do have the fibs on this chart, so there's our opening bell. And they're off. We're definitely getting a little bit of retracement. Kind of expected that. I'm sure there's plenty of traders that went long on that one. Definitely guys that are pretty good at trading the open. I've never really messed with it. Well, I actually have a long time ago, and the reason I don't do it anymore is because I've burned myself too many times. Just touch the 200 EMA on the 1 minute. Let's see what we get out of this. I'm going to hold off for 10 minutes or so before I consider a trade unless something becomes really obvious. Now this does look a little interesting, I have to admit, although we are in this major downtrend. I wouldn't mind taking this trade off of the 9 EMA. We have a nice shot up, smooth pullback. Let's see if that ends up playing out or not. All right, this is setting up, but it's kind of going without us. I really don't want to take it above this bar here. It's just too big of a bar. Yeah. It's tempting, but you want to wait until this bar closes, and it's really getting big. Above this bar, so we'd have to get up to about 80 to get our 5 points. It's not impossible. That would be at 75. I'm going to skip that trade. These bars just look so big to me. That trade would have been at 75, and we would have been looking to get out at 80 or 72. And that didn't quite take us out. But see, it got pretty choppy here. I wouldn't be surprised for it to go up to this 50% retracement from overnight. This move on the 5-minute here that you're looking at, that's about a 50% retracement. But it seems like it's hitting some resistance, and we can see that there is some consolidation right over here on the 5-minute. And that looks like that's what it's hitting up against. And we would have been stopped out on that. That would have been 72. Yeah, we would have got stopped out on that trade. So luckily we did not take it. Yeah, this is just a little too choppy. And then typically my rule is to not trade the first 10 or 15 minutes anyway. So I would have been violating one of my rules by taking that trade anyway. That move may have been the move of the day, the overnight move all the way down, and the rest of the morning we're just going to chop around. It is Friday, and this is going to be a long weekend. I'm not sure if the futures trade half a day or they're completely shut down, but I know that the New York Stock Exchange will be closed, so I'm not going to trade on Monday. So there'll be no stream until Tuesday. If you're going to trade, use caution because it is a half day. So a lot of times the volume will be low, so things won't behave the way you expect them to. Nothing to do here except watch. So we have just chopping back and forth, little range here. We'll see which way it breaks. My instinct is that it's going to break up, but that's not based on much other than maybe a retracement. But we are getting right into this consolidation here, so it could just end up rejecting this general area and go back down, test these lows here. We are still above all the EMAs, the important ones, 21 and the 105. We'll see if that holds. Same on the 5-minute. Just watching for another 5 minutes or so. Nothing to do here. I thought about taking this trade here, but these bars got kind of big and started to stack up, so I passed on them. And we are starting to reject this area. Just watching, still chopping around, not much to do here. At least not for me. And this could be what the whole morning looks like, perhaps even the whole day, with a long weekend coming up and coming off that CPI hangover from yesterday. If this keeps up, we may not even take a trade today. But we're always optimistic. All the trading so far occurred overnight. I slept through it though. This is where being in a different time zone would be to your advantage. Say if you're in Europe, this was right in the middle of your day. This was right in the middle of my sleep. This would have been, these times that you see on the screen are Central Time, because I live in the Chicago metro area, so that is Central Time. So we're looking at 5:30 Eastern till now. Nice draw, nice flush down. Lots of opportunities for pullbacks. This was nice trading. Like to see that during the day. Right now, this for me is untradeable. We need a breakout one way or another and try to get some kind of pattern to set up. Right now, it's just random. Feather in the wind. We had a good day yesterday. We ended the stream at about $650, $660, and then I traded a little bit after that and ended up closing about $900 on across 3 of my accounts. All right, now maybe we're getting some action here. But even this breakdown here, I'm hesitant to go short because you're going to be running right into these lows. And you see we've already hit it once, hit it twice. It sat here for a while. It started going up. So if we took a short, we'd definitely want to get out before this bottom, in my opinion. At least I would. That would be setting my take profit above this because at the very least, we're going to get a bounce off of it. And why take the drawdown? You can always re-enter. The other thing that might be holding this up is we do have some numbers coming out at the top of the hour, 10 o'clock Eastern, and that might be what traders are waiting for. So if this doesn't move, we'll just wait for that, and maybe we'll get some decent action after those numbers come out. I think that's consumer sentiment comes out at 10 Eastern. So even if I got into a trade here, I would definitely want to be out of it by then. It's flagged on my news as high impact news. I'm a little surprised by that. But either way, even stuff that's not particularly high impact can definitely move things quickly for a short amount of time. So if you're in a trade, it'll take out, it could easily take out your stop. If you're in a trade, maybe got 2-3 point stop on it, all it's got to do is flinch and it takes out your stop and then back to normal. best to not be in. And actually, some prop firms don't even allow you to trade during news. Apex is not one of them. They let you trade whenever you want. As long as you're out of a trade by 4:59 Eastern time. That's the close of the futures trading for that day. A minute before, actually. I guess the futures close at 5 Eastern time and then reopen at 6 Eastern. That is an ugly 1 minute chart. Actually, the 5 isn't much better. Just a barcode. I thought we were starting to develop a little bit of a bearish trend here, but it's just reversing off of it. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this yet. Well, I think I'll hold off on trades until after that news comes out. Unless something really obvious shows up. Yeah, I didn't see this. I saw no reason to believe this was going to happen. Yeah, this was a previous swing high where it's at right now. We'll see if it's going to hold or not. The only real indicators I trade with here are some EMAs, just to kind of give me an idea of what's going on. They're sort of what you would call supportive indicators. They're definitely not predictive. And of course, trend lines, lots of trend lines. It'll get a little messy. I'll start pulling these off, like this one here. I don't need any more. And some of these are just to sort of give me a reminder of swing highs and swing lows. Probably don't even need those, but sometimes when you're trying to watch a lot of things at the same time, it's nice to have little flags just to remind you. This is actually an intriguing trade right here. Is a long off of this 9 EMA. We had a nice run up, smooth pullback to the 9, and maybe we take that long, but I'm really nervous about getting into a trade this close to that news. 10 minutes, I mean, the trade should play out in less time than that. Yeah, I think I'm going to hold off. especially being a Friday. I really don't want to have a red day on a Friday. That just ruins my weekend, and it's a 3-day weekend, so it'll be ruined for 3 days instead of 2. Let's see, we would have went long around 70, what is this bar? 78 3/4. So that would have put us at 83 3/4. So that would have been where our target is, way up there. It's not a bad target because that puts us right at about the 50% retracement on this downswing from overnight or early this morning, depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah, it doesn't have enough steam. It's the ATR this morning. 3.63. We're looking for 5-point take profits. $83 3/4 right there. And it's moving pretty good. This trade may have worked out. We would have put our stop at break even by now. Yep, that turned out good to be a good trade. Another skill that I continue to work on is not second guessing it, just trying to be robotic about it. You see your setup, take it, don't look back. So we would have been in at right about that blue line right here. We probably would have went to break even at 79. So as long as it doesn't retrace to 79, we would have still been in this trade. Reason I'm talking about a trade that I didn't even take is just to kind of give you an idea of what kind of things I'm looking for. It's probably, I would guess that what they call reversion to the mean or pullbacks or continuation trades, that's probably the most common trade, I would think. It even applies to the price action traders with second entries and two-legged pullbacks and things like that. It's essentially the same idea, is that pullbacks and the two-legged pullback people, they don't take first entries, they take second entries. So we have one pullback, second pullback, and then they would go long. Just looking at it, there never was a second entry long. A second entry short actually set up on this bar here, but you wouldn't want to be taking a short. Number one, we're above the 21 EMA, and we're also in a short-term uptrend here. We still never did we get to our 83 3/4. Not quite. Never did quite make it, but we didn't get stopped out either. In fact, some guys will, instead of moving their stop to break even once we break out a little bit, they'll just leave it and close their eyes and have about, like say on a 5-point take profit, they'll set a 3-point stop and just leave it there. And it doesn't matter if it pulls back or whatever, they never move their stop to break even, just because they figure the big guys are going to come back and run all the stops before they send it up. And it's a valid concern. But at the same time, you may save yourself a lot of, that's $150 per contract on a 3-point stop. So you save yourself a lot of those $150 losses but you miss out on the 5-point winners too, which is 250. So as long as you're over 40-50%, you're going to still make money by taking your 3-point stops. Now that would have taken out a break-even stop, but not the 3-point stop. Got news in 5 minutes. Yeah, and this is a perfect example of what I was just talking about. They came back, they took out the break-even stops. This was the entry right at this blue line. Came back, took out those stops, immediately reversed, and now they're going to actually end up breaking the high, I'm going to guess here. Or maybe we're just caught in a range until this news comes out in 4 minutes. If you don't mind, take a second to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon if you want to be notified whenever I go live. Appreciate it. There we go. That would have been our 5 points, so that turned out to be a decent trade as long as you did not move your stop to break even. If you left it at 3 points where it started, you're out with 5 points. So that trade was, excuse me, had a little cough there. The trade was nice big green bar, smoothly pulls back to the 9 EMA. We would have went long above this red candle here, one tick above it, and set a 3-point stop loss and a 5-point take profit and let it ride. And as we mentioned, if you chose to move your stop to break even once this thing got way up in here, you would have gotten taken out. You wouldn't have got your 5 points. You could have also bailed on it too. Saw it start to fizzer out here, if that's a word, and just take whatever you could over here. But if you wanted to just ride it out, you would have had to leave your stop at -3, and you would end up with 250 on that. News in 3 minutes, 2 minutes now. I'll be right back. I'm going to get a cup of coffee while we wait for this news. All right, I'm back. We have about 30 seconds before this news hits. We'll see if it means anything. It is consumer sentiment. All right, here we come. 9 o'clock. There we go. Yeah, wow. A lot of movement, really, both in positive and negative. Give that a couple minutes to settle down. And I think we're free and clear of any odd things as far as news or whatever for the rest of this session. So now we'll let this settle down and we'll see if we can get some legitimate setups. This one would have worked out, although it wasn't as aggressive as I hoped. But that could have been because of the news, the pending news. This was not a bad move. The problem was this bar here was kind of big, so we wouldn't have gotten in until here. So we only had this move immediately. And we also did get the full 50% pullback on this drop here. The 50% retracement was this blue line here. Let's get rid of some of these lines here. Just a reminder that I won't be streaming on Monday because of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. New York markets are closed. I'm not positive about futures. It probably is closed or half a day for sure. Definitely not a full day of trading. And on a day like that, the volume just gets too low and it's too hard to trade. But I will be back on Tuesday. I apologize for the boring stream here, but I have not come across any high probability trades so far, with the exception of one I talked about ad nauseum. Seems like perhaps a bit of a wedge setting up here. Maybe. This kind of thing here. Hard to get a read on this market today for me. I'm sort of got this downtrend in the back of my mind, so I have this bearish bias, yet ever since the open we've been going up. Sometimes hard to get past your bias. You keep expecting it to head back down to test those lows, but that may be complete fantasy. This could be a potential long off of the bottom of this trend line right at the 9 EMA, but I don't like the way that this couldn't reach the top of this trend. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 hits on it, and now it's not able to get there. So this could be the end of this trend. Little breakout to the bottom of that trend line. See if it closes back up in it. You see, even though this is a nice trend up, it's still very choppy. Lots of wicks on these bars here, huge wicks on these. This was the news, of course, but I mean, all these bars have such big wicks on them. And look at the 5-minute. Those wicks show me a lot of indecision. We have a lot of buyers and sellers right at the same points. Kind of equilibrium, maybe just a slight bullish bias that's kind of trending this thing up, but we could take a chance on a long on top of this bar. That would have been like 87. I'll try it with one of my less important accounts. We'd be looking for 92, basically the top of this peak right here. Be looking to touch that again. Now we did have a double top here. So that may be the end of this. You know, hit it once, hit it twice, down we go. We're in this trade. Let's see what happens. We may bail if it starts to just fizzle out. Let's just try to take a point on this. This is just chopping around on me. Okay. That's $50. Looks like we could have got more out of it, but I'll take the 50. I want to change accounts on this chart, so I'm going to take it off screen. The only reason I do that is because sometimes somebody account numbers will pop up there. Not that I don't trust you, but I have no idea who you are. I don't even know what a person would do with those Apex account numbers, but I'm not taking any chances. Well, it looks like we could have got what were we looking for? 92. Didn't quite make it yet, but it looks like we will. There we go. We would have got our 5 points, 250. We left a couple $100 on the table, but $50 is better than a loss. Still just not pretty price action, is it? Looks like a lot of traders may have decided to take a 4-day weekend here. We are just sort of slow grinding up here. Hard to trade. Although you could have went long this morning, went to Walmart, come back later, collect your profits. It's what trader Al Brooks would have called the Walmart trade. You wake up, market opens, you go long, right now you're up $1,400. Come back, what was that, 45 minutes. If you're looking for ideas on learning how to trade, I highly recommend Al Brooks. He has a course, and I think it's around $300 or something like that. And I bought it years ago. And you will never find a course that is so jam-packed full of information. I mean, it's just hours and hours and hours of information for like $300. Very big, very good bargain. I bought it, and I still go through it now. A lot of it is just highly technical. It's hard to understand, but it's very good stuff. He also writes books, but I did buy one of his books, and it was mind-numbing. It was just too hard to follow. The videos are much better use. Because, I mean, they're books. I forgot. Books are $40-$50 each, you know, so you're better off just buying the course. And that's an endorsement, but I get nothing from that. I just am passing that on as something I found to be a good source of information in my journey. I would hesitate to buy anybody else's courses. I mean, they're all too expensive, and they're basically telling you either stuff that doesn't work, too many indicators, or whatever. And really the only information you need is how to spot a pullback. Trading doesn't have to be that complicated. I mean, I think that's what made me a profitable trader ultimately, was to just keep it simple. I mean, there was times where I had bought so many indicators and tried tuition costs, so to speak, but none of that stuff is at all useful. I mean, there's guys that are talking about these crazy indicators, or when 5 things line up and go long when this crosses this and this does this, and it really isn't very. Everything's lagging. So by the time that the indicator tells you anything, the trade's already gone. I mean, you just want supportive indicators. The EMAs are very helpful, because at the very least, you're looking at the slope of these lines and certainly telling you where we're headed. And drawing trend lines, super important. You just keep your trend lines up to date. Even short-term trend lines can be helpful. Something like this guy here. We're on an uptrend. The pullback, when we break across this line here, then the uptrend is likely to continue. Very helpful. Now today the movement's kind of small, so these don't have as great of an impact, although like this would work very nicely. But there are certain days where it's just obvious that have this very smooth pullback, and you draw your trend line, and when it breaks that trend line, we're going to continue on up. Everything's about a continuation trade. Counter trend trading is not for me. I try to take trades there with the trend. Of course, the key is then determining when a trend has changed. Like right here, now we have a break of this channel. So what typically a break of a channel will fail and we'll go back up into it. But when will that be? Is it here, or is it down 20, 50 points? Who knows? I mean, that's the problem, is we don't know when this will fail. Because once it fails, then you'd be thinking about it returning for a new high. But you just don't know at this point. You don't know how far this is going to go down before it goes up and fails. And I argue that that's no longer a failure. A failure would be here if we immediately go back up into it, like off the 21 EMA. That's a failed breakout, in my opinion. If this thing pulls back 10 points, 20 points, and then finally goes back up, is that a failure? I don't know. I don't think so. We'll tell you one thing. I will take a $50 profit today over a red on a Friday. That's what makes psychology so important in trading. Just a simple thing like, I don't want to end red on a Friday. Is that logical? I don't know. Okay, so this breakout looks like it is starting to fail, although it could bounce. This line here, which was support in the channel, could end up being resistance now, and a reversal pattern will start to set up. Now, typically, I wouldn't think that that's such a bad trade. This trend, we break out, maybe go long at the top of this bar, 92.25, right there. Let's see if we can get a few points out of that. That would be 97. That's 5 points is up there. don't know. That 9 EMA seems to be holding. This is a difficult trading day for my style. Those wicks on the 5-minute are pretty dramatic, aren't they? Now that pullback strategy that I talk about a lot does work on the higher time frames too, on the 5, but the problem is that you're going to have to deal with more drawdown because you're dealing with the 5-minute chart instead of a 1-minute chart. So what we might have taken is 1 or 2 points of drawdown on a trade on the 1-minute. That could be 5 or 10 point drawdown on the 5-minute. And when you're working with an evaluation account on, say, Apex or any other of the prop firms, you're dealing with a drawdown that's following you. It's a live trailing drawdown, meaning that it's $2,500 from your highest point, highest profit. And so that means that it keeps following you. So if it runs up and then pulls back down, your drawdown is actually still going down with you. But in any case, the point is that you still only have $2,500 of drawdown anyway. So if you have to endure 5 or 10 points of drawdown on the 5-minute chart, you could put a significant dent in your $2,500 drawdown on the account. I'm not explaining that very well. I understand that, but there's lots of videos on Apex website that explain it. Now, once you're funded, that trailing drawdown goes away, so now you have a little more flexibility. And the more you build up your account, the more risk you can take. You build up an account and it's got, say 10 grand in it or something like that, $10,000. Now you literally have $10,000 drawdown before you blow up the account. While you're in evaluation, you'll have 2,500 or less. Maximum will be 2,500. Yeah, that was a good trade. So we did have a failure here. We probably would have taken the trade above this bar. So that's at 92. So I've been 97 and a quarter, and we did reach it. Confidence level today is low for some reason. I'm letting irrational things like closing red on a Friday cloud my judgment, I think. But at least if we talk through the trades, at least we continue to reinforce our ability to see the trades. And then the more and more times we see it, the more muscle memory it becomes to take those trades. Turns out today we could have just went long at the open and closed our eyes. I do have an evaluation account that I'm getting very close to turning into another funded account. Where am I at here? I'm at $2,772, and I need to get to $3,000 to create another PA or funded account. So that's what, $218 or something. Let me see. I think that is that was one where they had a brief 90% off for the first month only. So I need to complete that thing by the end of this month, so to avoid being charged $80 renewal fee, because that one's only 50% off after the first month. That's why I took it. It was 90% off, but only the first month. This deal that you see up on the screen, that's 80% off for life. That means no matter how many months it takes you to pass your evaluation, it'll continue to charge you 80% of the normal price. Oh, this is mind-numbing. Not sure if that was a breakout and a failure, or if this is the actual trend line. It's just it was a bigger trend than I originally had laid out. It fits pretty well too. Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits on it. So maybe that wasn't even a breakout. Maybe that was just the bottom of the trend. This would have been the overnight, or since yesterday at 6 p.m. Eastern, this was the high. The open. This green line here is the high. Since yesterday's open, yesterday evening. And this was the low. Wow, that entire pullback is starting to get erased, isn't it? You're very close to reaching the top of that. Almost a full retracement. It's crazy. What did the entire overnight look like? Let's see. We could be setting up here for a second entry long that would be valid. Not yet though, still just the first entry on this bar. And second entry is simply a second pullback. I mean, we have this first pullback here from the high point, and then we would be looking for it to do it a second time, and then that's when we would take our long. The only time I like to take those first entries off of this 9 EMA is when we have a significant swing high with a pullback to it. Then we have pretty good confidence that it's going to retest where it came from. This is just such small movement here that I have no confidence that we're going to continue up. Plus, I mean, look at this, how much we've gone up already. I mean, you do not want to be chasing this high now, in my opinion. This is a higher low. This bar here. We still have did not have a second entry set up yet. Now perhaps we're starting to move below the 21 EMA, but well above the 105. So this is kind of a sketchy area for me to be trading my strategy. Now we've broken, even our adjusted channel has now been broken. I kind of think we might actually go back and test this open from last night. It's a higher low setup. This is like 94. Let's give it a chance to see if it breaks this little trend that we put up here. I got into this prematurely, I think. But we'll see. What we were doing is taking advantage of this possible pullback. Really, I should have been up at about 95.5. It might move now. So far, nothing. Looking kind of sketchy. I feel like skunking this trade. It's just chopping around here. I feel like if we could break the top of this wick here, we could have a pretty fast move up. But it's just stuck in this little chop zone right here. Not looking good. Just keeps bouncing off our entry point. Thought it froze there for a second. Let's just take our 2 points here and get out of this trade. Actually, I got a bad fill on that with the market order. Only made $71 on that trade, so we're up 120. Instead of marketing out of that, I probably should just brought my take profit down to the 2 point mark, which would have worked. Yeah, we missed a tick. We would want to get out right there. Yeah, about a tick. And after commissions, looks like 2 ticks. It was $75 minus our $4 commission. Still looking for a new high here before we can consider it to be a true reversal, I suppose. Just the volume here is so low. Let's see what the 2000 tick chart looks like. Looks better, I suppose. Maybe we should be trading that in a low volume day like this.